Okay, we're going to keep the show moving right along. First gentleman this evening, a very funny guy. Give it up for Barry Gorelick.
Wasn't Wendy great? Give her a big round of applause. Today is my graduation day. I am officially a new comedian. So, of course, it is customary for new graduates to, of course, provide gifts. Now, if any of you have a gift card in your pocket, please feel free to just pass that out. If you brought cards, that's okay. However, cash is fine too, and we can just pass this around. Please feel free to fill this out.
I'll take care of that for you, Barry.
All right. So let's get down to business here. Kind of serious business of comedy. You know, I was very nervous when I came out. And Tom said, part of the class is, everybody's going to get nervous. He said, but think of somebody in the audience as naked. You. Oh my God. Here, please stand up. Nice. Would it help if I had some Mardi Gras beads? Okay. The good news is, I'm not nervous anymore. Bad news, my wife is right there. All right. I have a little business to take care of, and I told Tom I was going to do this. So what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to move in a little bit closer. Come on. All you people here, slide over. All you people here, slide in. I'm going to line it up again. Come on, ready? Ready? 1, 2, everybody say cheese. Cheese. Excellent. All right, who left their phone on? It's actually me. It's my mom. Hold on a second. Hi, Mom. I'm kind of in the middle of something here. Oh, you called to tell me you're dating. Oh. Does Dad know? I'll call you back after this, all right? Thanks. So, now that I've screwed around with the naked woman, is there anybody in here got a problem with anger management? Anger management? No? Because Tom said don't fuck with you guys. He said, fuck with anybody else you want, don't screw with the happiest one. So this is my first time here doing comedy. And I just want you to know it's not the first time trying to be funny. I've been married for 34 years. 34 years. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking happiest 3 years of her life, right? 2.5, actually. I married my trophy wife. Yeah. 3rd place. All right. No one at work thinks I'm funny. That's kind of nice. But who wants to guess what I do for a living? Who wants to guess? Nice. Not wearing red. Who else? Come on. Starts with a B.
Banker.
Ooh. Nice. Banker. That's correct. Somebody said baseball player. I was going to say I look a lot like Roger Clemens, except no steroids. But banker is absolutely correct. I actually do disaster recovery. Does anybody know what that is, disaster recovery? Think of the absolute worst things that can happen. in this world, right? Fires, floods, tsunamis, you name it, pestilence, frogs. I'm like the Noah, the modern day Noah. And so at home, in preparation, I built an ark. It's true. You know, my neighbors have pools and hot tubs. They hate it when I try to float it, but it's just a little ark. It has room for one animal of every kind, and my barbecue. I figure if it's going to rain for 40 days, 40 nights, I'd bring some folks over. We'd have some beer, a little wine. You know, I expect a little bit of loss. You know, some of the bigger animals will eat some of the little ones, but that's okay. You know, I live in a tough neighborhood, and they, like I said, they really do hate it when I float my ark in their pools. But we don't have a neighborhood watch. We have a neighborhood ignore. And it's interesting because, you know, when you're out of town, the neighbors purposely stack newspapers in your driveway. Go bother them, don't bother us. So I have an alarm system. I have an alarm system on my house. It's very interesting because I've never used it. But one day it started to beep. You know how they think, cheep, cheep. So I went and looked and it said, needs a new battery. So what did I do? I took the old battery out, just left it plugged in. That's no problem. And then the power went out. Power goes out, the thing starts to beep again. Beep, beep. It's kind of like the 5 smoke detectors in the house, right? I could change every battery in a smoke detector and not find the one that's chirping. Or I'll find the one that I put the old battery back into, but so it's chirping. So it's the middle of the night. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I get up and I'm looking at this thing. It looks like an eye chart, and they put all of the instructions on a box this big. And I remember from the last time this happened, you got to push pound something. So I start pushing pound something, and the next thing I hear is interior alarm activated. Honey, what's the alarm code? I don't know. Well, if you had to guess what the alarm code is, what is it? Well, try 1, 2, 3, 4. Pound 1, 2, 3, 4. Police notified. Paramedics on their way. I said, honey, whatever you do, don't sit up. So what does she do? Sits up! Woo, woo, woo! So what do? I run downstairs, I stand at the front door, I open it, and I start yelling, whose is that? And then I recognize, I said, oh, there's no battery in this thing. I'll just go unplug the damn thing. So I run back upstairs, I go to unplug it. I actually know where the control box is. I go to unplug it, it's screwed into the wall. So I got it out, and about this much drywall with it. And then I go back downstairs, and here comes the police cruiser, right? And so I point down the street to the guy I don't like, and I said, it's his house! And so they drive down there. He's deaf. They start pounding on his door. He's going to be in the San Clemente police blotter. Have you ever seen the San Clemente police blotter? It's fabulous, right? They list all of the bad things that happen in San Clemente. There was a woman who was arrested. She was arrested for yelling at her husband. He was on the phone in Vegas. She said in the report that her couples therapist said that they should talk more during sex. So he called her from Vegas. I also read that there was a woman in a red pickup truck who was giving oral sex to a man. I couldn't find her for 6 fucking months. It was for a friend of mine married. He's on the ball team. It's okay. It doesn't make any difference if you're arrested or not. It doesn't matter anymore because the world is going to end on 12/21 anyway. How many of you know that the Mayan calendar, the world ends on 12/21, right? You can't count past that. You cannot buy a 2013 calendar today. You cannot. I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought an 18-month calendar. It had December in there 7 times. And they all stop at 12/21. Oh, You know, people are talking about the end of the world in the Mayan calendar, like there's no tomorrow. It'll take a second. Come on, let it sink in. So I work in Los Angeles, and I take the train from San Clemente up there every day, 2 hours each way, every day. Yeah, it's a commute. It is. But you know what? I have a train family that I actually work with. You know, you get on the train, and God help you if you sit in the wrong seat, because they will give you the stink eye if you sit in the wrong seat. Because people have been riding this train. I've been on it now for 3.5 years. Every day, each way, 2 hours each way. So if you sit in the wrong seat, they will just look at you like this. It's kind of like a farting, right? So I found my spot on the train. But there's, you know, I've gotten used to all of the characters that actually get on the train. It's amazing. We have a woman who gets on. She gets on in her pajamas. And she carries a pillow. And she has an Afghan thrown over her shoulder. Might have been Pakistani. There's a quiet car. If you even utter a peep, they're reporting you to the conductor. One woman got into a huge fight. She says, "What do you mean there's a fucking quiet car? All I was doing was turning a page." We had a woman who sits down near me almost every day. I call her the pelican lady. She's got kind of a heavy chin. And she sits down and she always makes this funny noise, like she's got a fish kind of caught in her throat. She's like, I wait for her every day. She's great. You know, I don't mind the commute every day. I really love to travel, and I do a lot of work on the train. I have a computer set up. I've got a MiFi. I sit down at one of the tables, and the train is packed. You guys, thank goodness for the Metrolink train, because you know public transportation is really taking off, especially down this area. Because if you had to drive that every day, it would actually take you forever, right? It would take you, Tom said 2.5 hours from Mission. That's no kidding. I mean, it just takes a long time to get to and from. Some days it's easy. Most evenings going home, not a chance. But I'm set up. I go to plug my phone because it's running out of juice. And that plug is right under the tabletop. It's up against the wall. So I look under the table. I find the plug. And I notice there's a woman there with a little black dog. I see it. A little black dog. So I plug it in. I get things going. It takes me about 10 minutes to find the plug. Well, in fact, the woman next to her says, you know, keep that up, I'll write you a check. I realize, you guys, that it's not a black dog. It's a short skirt. I have been flying for years as well. And I was on my way to Europe. And I flew southwest to Boston. And if you fly southwest to Boston, if you don't get your boarding pass 24 hours ahead of time, where do you sit? Yeah, exactly. I was C97 on the airplane. But I had the best seat on the plane. I was the only one who had his own personal tour. Yeah, people kept pounding to get in there. My office. So I have a connection to make from Boston to Heathrow, or actually to Dublin, because I'm flying to Ireland. I have a connection. Only in front of me, there's 3 wheelchairs, 6 strollers, and a woman who was trying to spawn upstream to get her 300-pound bag that she put in the overhead. So they finally get the woman is spawning backwards. She can't move the case. She can't even reach it. She's 4'5". So she ends up asking somebody to help her. She's in the middle of a Little People's Convention. She finally stands up and drops the suitcase on one of the little people. Now we have to wait for the paramedics. I missed the connection. So I end up in Ireland. I missed that flight. End up in Ireland. I'm stressed out. I decided I'm going to spend the evening in an Irish bar. An Irish pub, excuse me. And so I'm in the Irish pub, and it's time to use the facilities. So I excuse myself from the party I'm with. And I'm in there, and I'm doing my business. And in walks a little green guy. I'm thinking, I'm in Ireland. Little green guy. No. A leprechaun? Really? So what are you going to do? What does a leprechaun have that everyone wants? The pot of gold, right? I'm thinking $1,800 an ounce. Even if it's a little pot, it's worth a fortune. You have to capture the leprechaun, right? I put my hand on his shoulder. And he looks up like, oh, sorry, you got me. I said, are you really? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am. And I suppose you want in the pot of gold? I said, oh, yeah. I can't hardly believe this myself. And he says, well, things have changed, sir. I said, things have changed. He says, yes, sir. See, you get the pot of gold, but first, you got to do me. What is got to do? How do you say blowjob nicely? I'm thinking it's a pot of gold. Pot of gold. It's a lot of money. All right. So I take the little guy, and I put him in the stall, right? And I'm doing him. And he says to me, so, sir, how old are you? I said, I'm 58. 58 years old. 58 years old, and you still believe in leprechauns? I'm Barry Gorelick. Thank you very much.